You know, I don't think I've ever talked to a band from South Dakota before.
First ever, huh?
Well, did you guys do that? That was good. Well, I know this. I remember the Spill Canvas. I don't know
Oh
if you
yeah.
know that band.
Yep. Yep.
They had like a semi-hit, and I think Sean Colvin's from South Dakota, the singer-songwriter Sean Colvin.
Okay, I don't know if I've heard of Sean Colvin.
Vermilion. I did
Okay.
look this up the other day. It was Vermilion, but Sioux Falls, South Dakota. What's going on there? Did you guys grow up there? Because I know your dad's from Nebraska, which I'm going to talk about. But talk about South Dakota growing up there and what that was like.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a smaller city. I think there's only like 100,000 people here, something like that. Might be less than that.
And actually, I think it's now 200,000.
And now too. Oh wow, okay.
It's grown. It's
Yeah.
grown since we've been here uh a lot. There's a lot of fields and whatnot, but now it's crazy to drive around and see just, homes and different businesses. It's grown the last 20 years,
Were
which
you
is
guys all born there?
No.
just him.
I was the only one born here. The rest were born in Omaha.
That's Nick. Yeah.
You're the oldest, Nick?
I'm actually the youngest.
He's the
Oh,
young. We were all
Yep.
born in Omaha.
oh, okay. So you guys spent more time there than. Oh, well, I don't know the age difference between you, so I can't really make that.
So it's about a 7 year age difference between me and Frankie.
I'm the
He's the
oldest.
oldest.
Okay.
I have another sister. And she's about what, a year or two younger than you.
Yep.
And then we have another brother, our middle brother. He's about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years older than me. And then Kelly's 3 years older than me. So, yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So pretty close in age, all of us.
Yeah.
Did you all go to high school in Sioux Falls?
Yes, we did. We
Yep.
did. My dad moved. Our whole family moved here at the turn of the century in 2000, actually. So I was 7 years old when we moved up here, and then Nick is the only one born here in South Dakota who was born in 2000.
Yep.
Yeah. So we all went to, grew up here, went to high school, grade school, just down the road.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
There were times when three of us would be in high school at the same time.
yeah,
You know, Maxwell,
yeah.
Dynasty.
Everyone knew who we were.
Yep.
That's cool. Are you guys, I mean, what's your background as far as ethnicity goes? Because are you guys Native American?
No, we're actually, our mom is what? She's half
Hispanic.
Hispanic and our dad was Irish.
Oh, okay.
So, yep. Yep.
Okay.
We all of us kind of differ. We all look. Some of us look like our mom, and then the other ones like our dad. So
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a mix.
but it looks like there's something else in there too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I couldn't tell, man. I couldn't tell. And plus the Dakotas, I don't know why I think there's a lot of Native Americans in that area, you know?
Sure,
Um,
we did a what did we do for grandpa? What is it called?
23 and me.
23 and me, and he's like, I think he was 45% Spanish and then indigenous Mexican because he's from Sonora, Texas, West Texas. So that's pretty
right.
cool.
Yeah. Now your dad was a musician, and did that come into play when you guys were young in the household? Was it a very musical household?
Yeah, I'd say it was very influential towards us. I guess we were listening to Replacements, the Beatles, um,
The
the
Clash.
Clash, Elliott Smith, all these bands because we would a majority of our time when we would do our vacations, it was going back to Omaha. And so we'd spend those times in the car, listening to different records, things like that. And then during Christmas, our uncles would give us, different kinds of records that we hadn't heard before. So then everybody would get to play their record in the car on the drive home. So that's
Now,
kind of our growing up experience when it comes around music. We've always just kind of been around it. Our dad started, building his own like home recording studio here in Sioux Falls. And so it just kind of, morphed into us just playing more, picking up instruments, things like that. So yeah.
does he still play?
He actually passed away a few years ago.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sorry. I did not know that.
no worries. Yeah, he passed away unexpectedly in 2016. So that was where kind of the birth of Shurr Jr. really kind of, you know, blew up. Where me and Frankie kind of really morphed into, hey, let's really make this thing kind of serious. And kind of let's ride this thing out. Let's play music together.
Now, I know your dad was in a band called Fifth of May. I did see that in a press conference, press release somewhere. So, did you ever get to listen to your dad's music?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He had they have some tape decks that we have been listening to.
Some cassette tapes
Some
too.
cassette tapes, and we have I try to like put those in sometimes every once in a while, probably every year or so. I'll listen to it, and he was a crazy guitar player, so it's fun listening to those and kind of the harmonies as well.
There's also our uncles will send us some like video recordings from back in 1992, 1993 of them playing. Um it's I don't know where it is in Omaha. It's in Omaha, right?
Yeah.
But it's really cool to be able to see him actually play.
Yeah.
Obviously, we weren't alive back then, but
The long hair and
yeah,
shredding.
shirt off.
I saw that they had a MySpace page, so that tells you right there how long ago that was. So, was your father's band siblings or related as well?
Yeah, actually, it was his older brother. He was the lead singer,
Marty.
Marty, and then their cousin Bob,
Bob
was the guitar player, and then was the other guitar player, should I say? And then who else is in the
Bob
band?
Boyce was the drummer.
Mm-hmm.
For the life of me, I can't remember who played the bass, but
It was Jaws, wasn't it?
I think that was maybe at one point, and then he was in the Sons of I think
Okay.
in Shovelhead. But all of our uncles were in bands.
Yeah.
Like Dan's in Little Brazil right now. He runs Max Trax Records, which we're on. That's what
That's
our
awesome, man.
yeah.
Is it weird being so into music and being in a place like Sioux Falls? I mean, it's like it seems so far removed from everything.
There's a little scene here. It's coming back, I think,
Mhm.
from the 90s of like the Pomp Room, what used to be here in Sioux Falls, which is there's a great documentary on it if people want to check it out. It's called The Pomp Room. It's amazing. It's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen, and it's makes Sioux Falls a lot cooler in my eyes, knowing that there was this awesome room here that would play shows every day of the week, which was pretty cool.
Mhm.
I love documentaries, so I'll be looking for that one for sure. So, okay, I know I'm all over the place here, but so your dad, was a musician. You guys were around music a lot. I like the bands. You mentioned the Replacements and the Clash and stuff. So that means your dad had good taste in music. When did you guys all start playing?
I started playing around 13, 14. Like actually fully playing. I kind of like knew basic church chords like D and G when I was like probably 10, but I didn't really like actually actively start and take it seriously until I was about 13, 14. So yeah. And
I think I was maybe 11 when I started playing guitar, and then I don't know, I kind of fell off of it for a while, and then I think because I was really into the Beatles and certain different bands where it looks like it was impossible to play, and then I got really into Bob Dylan, and then I thought, well, I could do that. That seems easy. So I got the headstock and the harmonica and was playing Bob Dylan tunes, and then that graduated into Elliott Smith, learning those things. And then my dad, I remember him saying, "Listen, dude, I'm bobbed out. We got to listen to something else." So he showed me Green Day's "Bullet in the Bible," their live album slash DVD of their concert in Milton Keynes after American Idiot came out, and that blew my mind. And from there on, it was punk and energy. And then he started showing me Replacements, The Clash, Joe Jackson, just really cool, energetic stuff. Because that's kind of where that's where my music taste goes as well. And then that was guitar, and then I started playing the drums, maybe 16, and then started getting into bands in college playing the drums.
What about Kelly?
I started playing. Well, uh, when Nick started playing guitar, he would ask me if I wanted to practice with him. And at that time, I would have been maybe like, what, 15, 16. And I'd be like, nah, like, I want to do my own thing right now. I wish I would have practiced with him because I'd be probably, I'm not going to ever be as good as he is, but I regret that. But I first started playing guitar. So I started playing guitar, like actually trying probably when I was 22, senior year of college. And then I play bass in the band right now. So Frankie started teaching me how to play the bass back in October of 2023. So I've only played that for like a year and a half. I really love that instrument though.
She's very good.
I I think Frankie was like, "Yeah, we're gonna put you on bass," and you're like, "Oh, like I wanted to play guitar and I wanted to get better at that." But then I started actually playing, and I was like, it really I felt like I actually was adding something to this project. I felt like I was contributing, and I actually see music a completely different way now that I play this instrument.
Yeah, it opens your eyes.
It
and makes
really
you hear
does.
things.
Yeah. I notice different things in the music that I listen to, and it's really cool. I
I
appreciate
almost
these guys. They help me.
I almost get the feeling that all you guys play all instruments. Am I right about that? You're all multi-instrumentalists, probably, right?
I can play the bass. Frankie's kind of our multi-instrument guy. He can
I
kind
can
of
play
whip
a
out
little
some
everything.
things. He's had been messing around on the keyboard. Like he's kind of all over the place and can kind of figure things out.
Yeah.
He's our McCartney, I guess you could say.
Yeah, well, yeah, but you also play more than one instrument, so don't sell yourself short here, because all three of you play more than one instrument, so that's pretty cool. Now, as far as your influences go, I mean, when you mentioned that you heard Green Day and it was all of a sudden punk rock. What about when you were younger? What were you listening to? I mean, I know your dad was playing stuff around the house, but Kelly's sweatshirt almost looks metally. Were you like into metal and stuff, or
It's a boy genius.
oh
Uh
no, you're not.
yeah, it
Sorry,
is. No, no,
Lucy Dacus is not metal. Okay,
no. Definitely not metal. Their merch is hella metal though.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm
But
like that. I thought that was like some Norwegian death
well,
metal. It is a
like
boy.
you can almost not really even read it. It's so like busy right here.
Okay,
But
I'm embarrassed because I do
oh
know
no.
Julie and Baker and Lucy and
Oh
Feed
yeah,
Me. I know
absolutely.
the band, so I just didn't know they had merch like that.
Oh yeah, on the back is like the like biblically accurate uh angel. So it's kind of a scary like
Looking shirt. It's
scary
cool though.
looking back of it, but it's yeah. I love their merch. It's
Are,
awesome.
are you a fan of their music?
Oh yeah. Me we all are.
Hmm.
It's it their EP that they dropped back in 2018 really changed how I look at music. And when their album came out in 2023, it was awesome.
Groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking. And I think they're just great. The
Yeah, I
boys,
agree.
they're great. They're awesome. They're
Yeah, I
killer.
was a Lucy Dacus. Lucy's solo stuff was really good. All three of them really are good. I mean, they're really
Yeah.
talented bands. Sorry about that. I kind of completely sidetracked there. So you like Boy Genius? Do you like a lot of other like mellower stuff like that?
I actually I really like music that's very melodic, like in vocals and also like the lyrics I look at a lot. I know that these like Frankie is really into the like
Me-
instrumental like
mechanics of
mechanics of
everything.
it all. And I like the Beths. I don't know if you've heard of the Beths.
Yes.
They're a band from Auckland, New Zealand. I listened to their I watched their KEXP uh set, and that was my first time ever listening to them, and they are incredible. I think that they know what their sound is. The I think this was probably the first time too I was like actually wondering what they're doing with their guitar pedals and all that kind of, because I was kind of still not really like into that stuff at this point. um but I don't know. They're really good at what they do. Music, lyrics. Her voice is super cool. She's like not really even like a it's not like a pretty voice, but it is at the same time just a really light, very shy voice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think one of you guys mentioned, oh shoot, you mentioned another band, and I can't remember who it was now. But what else? I mean, do the influences really mean a lot to the direction of where you're going?
Yeah, I would say so. We listen to well, I listen to, and I should just say all of us because we are hugely.
Elliott Smith is who I could remember, but someone
Yeah,
mentioned Elliott.
Elliott Smith is massive when it comes to that. He's probably my favorite artist of all time. I think lyrically, I try to kind of, you know, try to dig deep for lyrics, kind of the way that he did. I know that he wrote a lot. Wouldn't say his own perspective. He liked to write about other perspectives of other people. You just sit at a bar and watch people watch things like that. So I try to, have been trying recently, especially after the EP, been trying to write about other perspectives and not just perspectives of, just my own, and kind of, kind of trying to write on viewing how other people might see me, or just kind of looking at myself from a different perspective and being like, hey, maybe I need to change in certain ways. But I'd say that he was a massive part when it comes to writing. I did try to, in college, would try to do poetry basically almost every day, try to write something, write a line or something, just so I could, kind of get out of, writing like head and bed, right, like rhyming together. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I wanted to, kind of get a little bit more into depth when it came to
Right, right.
like trying to, find different words to use when it came to that. So I think my writing is kind of, improved when it's come to that. I always go through I think it's like every 3 months I'll go through an Elliott Smith phase where I'll listen to every record and then be like, all right, I think I'm inspired right now, so I'll try to, kind of write something. But I'd say that is kind of or I should say my inspiration when it comes to writing musically. You know, we listened to a lot of I guess when we were growing up, it was a lot of Green Day. And it was a lot of the Replacements. So those were really like influential when it came to that, because though, like, especially the Replacements, I think a good example of that is probably Can't Hardly Wait. Just that, like, boppy, yep, that like
Yeah, the
melody is
Let It Be album's like one of my favorite records ever made. So
good. It's unbelievable. So I'd say that that's where kind of my personal opinion, where kind of we kind of grew influentially, just kind of as musicians, just in general.
you started on this question before I asked it, the writing process. What is the writing process of the band?
Yeah, so a lot of the writing process just takes place with me, with an acoustic guitar. Um, so I like to tune differently and just different kind of tunings, things like that. I really like open chords. You can kind of mess around with, a lot of different
So
things.
you write all the songs?
Yes. And Frankie helps me form everything. So I write lyrically, I'll write a majority of the songs. Frankie will help me kind of pitch in, and same with Kelly, pitch in with like certain lyrics that, I'm still having trouble figuring out. But when it comes to like, forming the song, the formation, that's kind of a me and Frankie
Right.
thing. Kind of, I feel like we're usually on the same page when it comes to that. I try to write knowing where he's going to be playing at when it comes to the drums. So
He's a very rhythmic guitar player, so it used to be we would both sit down and kind of I'd tap along with him and kind of figure out, okay, and then we'd arrange the music. Now he makes my job so easy because I hear exactly what he wants me to do with certain stops and just how he's playing. I can hear the drums. That's his improvement as a guitar player, which is it's amazing to hear. Like I said, it makes my job easier as a drummer goes. And then from there, I will figure out the chords that he's playing, the open tunings, and then I'll transpose that into standard for Kelly, and then her and I will flesh out a bass part, since Kelly and I just, as far as just human beings go, we mesh very well together. So it's only natural that the drummer and the bassist would be that close. So it's very easy, and she takes direction very well, and with how to play, like mixing melody and rhythm. It's very fun. That's probably my favorite part is adding her in, and then hearing it come together when we play. It's very fun. And then when, say, for example, Kelly has to work and it's just Nick and I playing, Kelly is missing. It just sounds weird without her. So that's kind of how the writing goes.
Well, you're leading me right into the sibling dynamic of this band, because I was thinking about us sitting here before, and I'm thinking the Carpenters, the Kinks, Heart. I was thinking about Tegan and Sarah. I was thinking about these artists that siblings they're so good together, but there's also can be some problems going on. I'm not seeing that with you guys at all from the Zoom interview, but like I know Dave and Ray Davies from the Kinks, they just didn't get along very well at all. I mean, talk about the sibling. What's it like for you guys being in a band together?
Yeah, I think we're all very close. We've been very close for a long time. So it's nothing that's like, we're not trying to like get kind of used to each other's work habits. We just are we kind of mesh just well, just in general. Me and Frankie, for example, I think it's just kind of weird. You kind of know when you just like can click with somebody just like instantly. That was like the first time we jammed. I think we were playing like a Avett Brothers cover when I was like 15, and we kind of just knew from there. We're like, okay, well, I think like this could work. Like we could actually do this.
This feels right.
Yeah, and so it like even just when it comes to like the recording process or like on stage stuff, I usually we really don't bicker about like those kind of things. We might have a little bit of disagreements, but we usually kind of try to keep the peace when it comes to that. But it's usually we can kind of make a joke about something and then everything's kind of back to normal.
You guys all seem pretty mellow, so it seems like you're a mellow family.
Very much so.
Very laid back. And so yeah, when it comes especially to like in studio stuff, and Frankie or I might have an idea or something like that, and Frankie kind of expands on that. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, what do you like? Are you sure? And he's like, trust me, it's gonna sound cool. And I'm like, all right, like I trust you, because he's got a better ear for those kind of things. Like he just knows what's gonna sound sweet. And I think we all kind of know what sounds cool. But he's just kind of got that ear for it. And so it's like it might be a little bit weird at first. You just got to get used to it. It's gonna sound sweet, trust me. So it's like one of those things where it's like, all right, I trust you. I trust you fully. So yeah.
Okay, the name of the band. I mean, when did you decide this is what we're going to call? I saw in a press release something about it was your father's catchphrase, Shurr Jr.
In a way, so I'm Junior. Actually, my father and I shared the same name. So
Okay.
it was one day, it was many years ago. I asked him, I don't remember what I asked him, but he said, "Sure, Junior." I thought that sounds cool. And I think I'm gonna save that for something as far as a band goes. And then eventually it just, yeah.
Did you all agree on the name right away?
Well, Frankie had the name, and him and I were just kind of playing in general, and Frankie was like, "Do you just want to we'll just do this as Shurr Jr.?" And I was like, "Cool, I'm cool with it." I always thought it was a cool name, so I was like, "I'm cool with that." So
yeah.
And Kelly just went along with it.
Absolutely. I love the name. It's great. No notes.
Is she always disagreeable? Come on now,
Yes, she is. This is not an act.
So I know you guys put a single out in 2021. How much before that did the band actually start playing and recording, I should say? When did you start recording as a band?
I think that was officially the first time we actually recorded.
I think recorded anything, yeah.
Recorded anything, yeah, was during that 2020 session that we did with Nate Van Fleet.
Was the pandemic really a factor for you guys out in I almost said Carolina, South Dakota?
Yeah, we were quarantining a good amount, and I was actually moving back to Lincoln because I had to go back to school in Nebraska. And so luckily when me and Frankie went to go record that EP, we kind of tested for everything, made sure that we were good to go. Nate, our studio engineer for these records, he tested, made sure, and we just kind of just isolated ourselves for those like
It was a couple
couple
days.
days with Nate, and then we just kind of cracked out these songs, cracked out those two songs, Uncool and Desania.
We actually recorded Red Shelter in that session too.
Yep.
And I
Oh, you
think,
did?
yeah,
Mhm.
there was another one that we scrapped and then we rewrote that is much better now. But then came back the next year?
Yeah, the following year in 2020 in July, came back and did those
Yeah.
five of those songs in probably like 2 days. Tracked all those, and then I came back in Omaha, went back to Omaha the following week, and then did the vocals in I think that day or 2 days. So yeah, it was we made sure that before we were kind of going anywhere, we were extremely tight when we don't want to waste Nate's time or anything like that, and try to like figure things out there. So kind of the process when it came to that was really, you know, we'd start, he would be like, all right, well, what's the BPM for this? And then we'd kind of figure that out. And then he would go, let's just jam out the songs really quick just so he could hear them. And then he'd be like, all right, let's do it. Then we just go ahead and do it. So yeah.
And so if you spent a lot of time in the studio since then?
We have not. We've actually, we've been making our own demos right now.
Uh-huh. So you have like a home studio. Yeah.
Yep.
I
Yep. So
figured that with your dad probably you would.
and Frankie's kind of been building it. So
I've added on. I've accumulated a lot of gear over the years.
Now, do you guys all still live in the same place?
me and Kelly do. Frankie does not.
I live down the road though.
Yep, lives right down the road. So
All in Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know why Kelly makes me laugh, just her reactions. You folks listening will have to go on YouTube and I'll put the video up there and then you'll see what I mean. I don't know why. She just makes me laugh. I can't, it's not explainable. It's
And
like a good demeanor, I guess, you know?
Yeah, she is when we play shows, she is the one that gets probably the most compliments out of everybody. Everybody's like,
I wonder why.
yeah, I know. Oh.
Um, I was going to talk more about okay, so Red Shelter is the new EP that's coming out. I'll tell you right now that the song that I really love on this record is Lewis Park. For some reason, it's kind of got that uplifting kind of feel to it. And what was the inspiration behind that track, by the way, just out of curiosity? Because I think that could end up being one of the songs that people are going to notice from the record. I don't know. I'm just my opinion, you know?
I appreciate that. So that is actually a park here in Sioux Falls, called Lewis Park. I wrote that riff, that guitar riff. That was one of the first actual guitar riffs I ever wrote by myself. I wrote that in probably like 2016. And the lyrics have kind of changed a little bit since then. I rewrote, second verse, or not the second verse, second chorus, and kind of rewrote the first verse as well. But inspiration about that is probably just like I guess it was at that point was just a relationship that I knew was kind of dying, but trying to salvage as well. So that was kind of the inspiration behind that.
Maybe
Um,
that's why I like it, since I recently ended. Well, I'm not going to get into that, but yeah. Well, a lot of the songs seem pretty personal on the record. You know, um, I think I saw in the press release that Ink was one that you worked more together as
yeah,
far as the songwriting goes.
uh, we did work together a lot during that one. So me and Frankie, again, that was actually another one that we had
Early one.
early one that was originally 10 minutes long that we cut down to 2 minutes. So it was a long one at first, but I couldn't figure out a melody to save my life, and then I also couldn't figure out a just lyrics in general. I wrote the first verse. I really liked the first verse, wrote the chorus, and I was like, I kind of like the chorus. And then I tried to write a second verse, hated it. And the night before we actually I went to go track the vocals for that. At like 2 a.m, I woke up just like panicking about like the second verse, and I was like, I hate it. It sounds terrible. And so I quickly grabbed my electric out and then just quickly rewrote the second verse in my grandpa's in like a spare bedroom that he has. Quickly just rewrote it at 2 a.m, and I was like, all right, that's way better. And then I went to bed,
Was
woke up.
that in Nebraska?
I was in Nebraska. Yep.
Did you
Um,
guys all go to school in Nebraska to follow in your dad's footsteps or where he's from? Because
I did. Me and Kelly did. Frankie went to school up in Moorhead.
Yeah, for a couple of
For a
years.
couple years.
so you guys went to the University of Nebraska?
Yep.
Lincoln.
Lincoln. Okay. And you went to school in South Dakota?
I went
Yeah.
to school in Fargo, Moorhead. So
North Dakota.
yeah, North Dakota. It's so Fargo is across the bridge is Moorhead, Minnesota. So it's like a
Oh,
tri-state.
Moorhead, Minnesota. Sorry. Okay.
But
Yes.
then right across the bridge is Fargo. So I lived in Fargo too, and was in bands and stuff, which was a fun area. So I went north for
I
school.
want to ask you about if you went to any of these nearby places to play. But one more thing, Drowning was the other song on the record that I wanted to ask. What's different about that than the other tunes in terms of your well, it seems like there might be a lot of relationship things going on with some of these songs, right?
Yep. So that one was definitely about a relationship that was kind of falling apart. But also kind of looking back just at myself too. I'd say that second I think it's there's like it's right before the solo. That's like a looking back at and then like the calling me brainless, that was what I wrote about me saying to myself. But I think writing that song was probably when I was like, oh, okay, I think I can do this like officially now. I tuned my guitar down to open D tuning. And so that was the first song that I wrote in that tuning. Wrote that on my college house floor. Really quick, sent it over to Frankie, and I was like, I think I got it. I think I got the single for the next EP.
Yeah.
He was like, all right, this sounds sweet. Like I can see kind of where the direction where we're going in now. And then that really kind of shaped where Red Shelter really went. Um, Most of the songs on there are open tuning. And yeah, it really shaped kind of where we want to be, just as a band.
Also, it's interesting too, that song Drowning. If you know, as far as parts wise goes, there's no part in that song repeats either, which is really interesting. That's how he kind of writes. He writes songs in
It's cool.
not necessarily verse, chorus, but there's this part and then this part, but each part could be its own chorus. And I wrote the drums that way too. No drum part in that kind of repeats in a way. It's a little different each thing. I think Kelly's bass too. So it's really cool hearing that song, and then the new ones that he's writing are, I mean, so much better now too. He's grown as a songwriter.
Yeah, I think I really try to kind of hone in Connor Oberst from Bright Eyes when it comes to that, because he really
We're back in Nebraska again.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. He really tries to differentiate his core. Every single chorus is different from the last one. And same with Phoebe Bridgers too. She always has a different kind of lyrically different from the last one. So I really tried to kind of melodically change up things just so it sounded different. And then you could always find a new thing. Oh, okay, that's a new part in the song that doesn't sound the same as the last one. So I really like to kind of change up that. I think there's only 2 songs on the record where they repeat lines. It's Red Shelter and Ink where they repeat lines.
It's a good record. You guys are good. The songwriting is definitely spot on. Now, what about playing out? You guys play out much?
We just started playing live shows recently, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, we had played back before COVID. Me and Frankie did. But then we kind of just took a break because then I was living in Lincoln.
Uh-huh.
So it was hard for, me to try. I didn't have a car at that point, so it was, kind of impossible for me to travel back and forth and try to play shows.
I was also drinking pretty heavily at the time too, so I wasn't really in the right mindset to play live. But I've stopped since, and I had to get my head right because I had been in bands before, and a lot of them were very good, but I would say I ruined it from my partying. I'd rather get drunk and fuck off than
Things got real heavy all of a sudden here, folks.
I know, right?
I want Kelly's perspective on this. So Kelly, what was the first gig that you remember doing with these guys live?
October. Was it October? Last year, 2024. At the Full Circle Book Co-op downtown Sioux Falls.
This is a real unusual project because most bands play gigs and then they record, but you guys didn't play for a long time and now you're playing. So what's next?
Gosh.
What's next, Nick?
Yes. We are actually gonna be playing in a festival here in Sioux Falls in August, August 8th and 9th. I actually think we're playing August 8th. And then, we have been in contact with some other venues here. They've seen us play, want to go ahead and book shows, things like that. And then our uncle is also going to hook us up, and we're going to try to play some shows in Omaha here soon. So yeah, I think we're just kind of open right now to kind of start playing a good amount of shows and kind of getting some ears around this record.
Okay, so I used to manage and book bands, so this was the question I'd have to ask. What about Minneapolis? Because you guys are kind of close to there.
Yeah, definitely. And I know our other brother, he actually has some connections in Minneapolis as well. We're definitely going to start looking into that area.
There's a lot of places and a lot of bands there. That's why. And how far would you say Sioux Falls is from Minneapolis?
3.5 hour drive.
That's not bad at all. There you go.
It's not bad at all. So we're definitely going to start looking into that, and then kind of looking towards, maybe at some point, Kansas City, Lincoln, Nebraska, things like that. Just
Chicago.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are like not too far away from everything.
No, it's not.
Sorry, I live in the Boston area, so it's like, it's just there's all these cities that are within 5 hours here. So it's a little weird talking to someone that's in the Dakotas.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you must realize people in like someone like me where I am, how we think about the Dakotas.
There's nothing really there, probably.
Well, I don't mean to be negative. It just seems
no.
Like
our way.
Yeah, I don't want to get political or anything, but it seems red, I was going to say, but it's unavoidable for me not to think that, right? Red shelter, red state. I don't know. All right. So, you guys are really cool. I really like your whole vibe and everything. And I'm really happy that, did your label go out and get you a publicist, or did you guys hire your own publicist?
Our label did, when it went and got out, and helped us out there. But yeah, we're trying to, keep growing this, so we can kind of turn this dream into a reality.
Yeah, Raby's good too, very good.
Very, very much so.
And they've been a lot of help, so it's been great. This is kind of our first time doing this, so it's been, learning experience, but also just kind of great to get the name out there as well. So
do you guys listen to like a lot of music? I mean, obviously we talked about Boy Genius and Elliott Smith and a few others. Do you guys have turntables and stuff, or how do you listen to music?
Yeah. For my birthday in 2024, Frankie bought me a record player.
Okay, you get the coolest.
About.
Yeah, you get the coolest brother in the world when you can say that, right?
Absolutely. I was super stoked about it. And I remember last year just buying like every month like 3 records. Next month 3 records, and I was just accumulating all these records, and Nick was buying records, and then this year for my birthday Nick and Frankie bought me some new speakers for the record player.
Wow.
So we're really rocking with some pretty good equipment on that. And I think it's so awesome. I love listening to music on that. It's just really so different.
Putting on a vinyl,
it's fun.
There's something
It's
about it.
fun. Having to turn it from side A to side B. I love that.
It's very warm.
All of my equipment is from like Goodwills and hand-me-down. I mean, nothing in that room, the other room, is newer than like 30 years, I swear. Because you got to have those big old speakers and the old turntable and the receiver, you know? What were some of the records that you bought, Kelly?
Oh gosh, let's see. Well, I definitely bought Boy Genius, the EP from 2018.
You love them.
Lucy Dacus, Steve Bridgers, like all three, Julian Baker, the Beths got that as well. God, what else?
Sabrina Carpenter.
What else? Sabrina Carpenter. I listen to a lot of different types of music. I listen to Broadway to like.
That was a curveball. Your brother did that on purpose and threw Sabrina Carpenter.
I know.
I know he did.
My face is getting all red. Thanks, Frank.
He could have said Taylor Swift, but he said Sabrina Carpenter.
There's a couple of those in there too.
I do have a Sabrina Carpenter album. It's actually really good. I love it. I listened to it a couple weeks ago. It's great.
What about you guys, man? What are you guys doing, listening to now?
Yeah, so I listen to a lot of Charmer, just a lot of Julian Baker as well. I have her first record that I just bought. She just released a new
She's great.
Yeah, she's so good. And then but yeah, Charmer actually they're gonna release a new record here, so I ordered the vinyl for that, so I'm excited for that to drop. But yeah, I listen to a lot of Midwest emo, so a lot of like the Hotelier, things like that. Yeah.
Fiddler came out with a record last year that I loved. Waves put out a couple new songs recently, so I've been playing those a lot. As far as the turntable, because I bought some records too. I got some jazz stuff. I wanted something different. Movie soundtracks is something I really like to do or listen to. I'll listen to a movie soundtrack and then read a book while that's playing. That's my favorite thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you guys are pretty indie rock, though. I mean, from what you've told me so far.
Very much so.
Which is cool, man. You know, hey, I like the vibe, man. You know, good luck to you guys.
I like you too, dude.
Well, thank you. You know, you can always find. I'm easy to find. But thanks for taking the time to talk to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure.